Hello, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation. Welcome to the Rangers FC Sunday supplement, guys. Your Sunday ploughed video to watch, to go on to talk over obviously yesterday's game, talk over the news, to talk over all the goings on around Ibrox at this moment in time. Well, look, let's get a bit of perspective on yesterday. It was a training game. It was not a game that I don't think had a great deal riding on it. It was a friendly. There was no league points. And it's a difficult one to balance out, isn't it? I 100% understand the fans that are saying, don't get your knickers in a twist, don't get worked up about it. It's only a training game. They've trained hard all week. There was a bit of fatigue there. Yes, I get that. 1,000,000% understand that. And look, I think, we don't need to get carried away by it. We don't need to look at this has been the end of the world because we've lost to some second division German team in a friendly in La Manga. With some very interesting refereeing decisions. But look, yes, Philippe Clement getting sent off in a mid-season friendly game that was a training game, effectively, I think was a bit of a joke for asking a question of the official. And as Philippe Clement said in his post-match interview, he said, it often happens, doesn't it, in these southern countries, some bizarre decisions. I think that was a very bizarre decision indeed. Now, there were some positives to take from yesterday. Yes, I know it was hard to find some positives from what was look, like I said, I know we've got to put in couch in the terms of it was a training game, etc., but it was a dire performance. It really was an absolutely dire performance from Rangers yesterday. I think part of it was down solely to fatigue, down to the fact that the players were tired. I think from what's been a pretty intensive week, intensive few days of training across there in La Manga. I'm sure Philippe Clement has been pushing them very, very hard over the last few days to sort of get across his ideas. This was positives. There were some positives from yesterday, I think, despite the fact that it wasn't a good result and it wasn't a good performance. And it was a performance that lacked drive, lacked speed, lacked passion, lacked anything. And it is difficult to show passion in a mid-season friendly. I get that. And, there was no crowd there, so to speak of, no fans really to sort of get behind the team. I get that. So, look, it's a balance. It's a balancing act. It's realizing that as a game, it didn't have a lot riding on it, but it's also realizing that for some players, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to impress. It's a chance to show what you've got. It's a chance to show the manager, and the watching fans. I think it was 50,000 watching at one point on Rangers YouTube channel, that you've got what it takes to be part of this team's future and to be part of the rest of the season for Rangers. We are in a position where a very delicate position. I think we're kind of walking a tightrope at this moment in time. I think that's kind of an analogy we can kind of run with. That, if we get this right, that this is a real chance to win 56 this season. The transfer window is still ongoing. Yes, it's the 14th of January today, and the only arrival has been Fabio Silva on loan. There's some very weird news over departures, right, etc. But get this training camp right, get the tactics right, get the team selection right, get the purchases in this window right. And I think, against what is and against, despite what has been said by some, a very poor Celtic team, we have every opportunity to actually go on and win this league this season. Now, what positives did we pull out of yesterday? Well, I think one of the biggest positives is we have got two top class goalkeepers on the squad. Robbie McCrory started the game yesterday. I thought looked very good, confident, got a couple of saves in there. Nothing he could do about the goal. We'll talk about that in a minute, because there's kind of a wider message we need to pull out of that from yesterday. But Jack, he looked excellent. Jack Butland came on, looked commanding, put a bit of urgency into the game. Even near the end of the game, in what was a training game, as we've said, he was pushing it. He was trying to get the positive result. He was trying to encourage the players forward. And, bowling it out quick to Robbie Fraser, bowling it out quick to Bailey Rice to try and get the game going. But Jack and Robbie, I thought, were absolutely brilliant yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. Jack pulled off a save, commanded his area very well. We've got two absolute top-class goalkeepers there in Robbie and Jack. So that is essentially very positive, message going forward for the rest of the season. That those two keepers are now, obviously, Robbie has got a decision to make as to what his future holds. Robbie, for me, is a top-class keeper. He's a goalkeeper. He could be a number one anywhere else in Scotland, anywhere else, even in some of the, I think, in England as well. Could be the Scotland number one at the Euro Championships. For me, he's better than Zander Clark. He's better than Liam Kelly. He's better than Angus Gunn. Better than Craig Gordon. Better than any of those goalkeepers. So, look, at the end of the day, you've got some very, very talented keeper there. And I think Hopefully, he can get some playing time, maybe play in the Scottish Cup. You know, he got 45 minutes yesterday. Hopefully, we'll see perhaps a little bit of him, you know, in that against Dumbarton on the 20th. But for me, yeah, McCrory's good, but Jack Butland's better. And that's just the way it is, unfortunately, for young Robbie. Another positive, obviously, there was another 45 minutes for Nicholas Raskin yesterday. Look, Raskin, he wasn't great yesterday. He did all right. He was trying to get on the ball, trying to dictate things, trying to be a playmaker, trying to be, you know, the man in there. And that's good to see. You know, he's not fully fit yet, match fit yet. He is probably, you know, fit in terms of that. But as I've said to you on past videos, you know, listening to what professional footballers say, it takes 6 to 8 weeks for you to get fully match fit, to be able to play at a pace where you're ready to go in a game. So it's going to take time for him to get back. I'm very positive about what Nicholas can bring to the team. He is a good player. We saw last season in the second half of the season how good he can be. You know, I'm confident that Philippe Clement can get the best out of him. So that was very positive. You know, in terms of the other things, you know, looking at the squad that was named yesterday, we saw 22 players. We saw, you know, I think everyone got a run out, bar Kieran Wright. Second half, I thought was not great at all. I think all the changes perhaps didn't help. The team perhaps weren't, you know, 100% at it, but it was good that 22 players got a run out. You know, that everyone got some game time yesterday. You know, looking at that second half, you know, I thought Ross McCausland was lively. It's good to see John Lee Yefeko get on. Good to see Robbie Fraser get on. I thought, you know, Leon King did okay at right back, not his natural position. Good to see Cifuentes back. I thought Dessers was shit again. I mean, again, he had that chance where it was blocked, but again, it's just too many touches. You know, I think it's Adam Thornton, I think it was, or it may have been CJ Novo, said on X this morning. Why can't we get a striker that just takes a shot and that's it, rather than tries to take far too many touches? Good point. Yeah, I thought Dessers was absolutely fucking appalling again yesterday. Just looked lackluster, it's a worry. It's a worry, guys. It really is a worry. But the positive, obviously, we saw 22 players. I think the worry, obviously, yesterday is the fact this squad is still not deep enough, anywhere near deep enough. The fact that Dujon Sterling was playing as a right winger, when I think many of us might have thought that Tav had been better filling in a right wing, to be honest with you. But I thought that's worrying. Dujon Sterling is not a right winger. You know, he certainly isn't a right winger. That experiment definitely didn't work. So it does show that, you know, we've got McCausland, which is excellent. McCausland is very good, but, you know, what is there after Ross McCausland? Scott Wright, for me, not up to it. I thought Ravi Matondo was absolutely fucking appalling again yesterday. Did not look good. Did not take his chance in the slightest. And I think it all comes back again, and it's like what CJ and Adam Thornton have said this morning on X. Strikers. Just it's simple. It's just absolutely simple. Where are the strikers? That is it. You know, Fabio Silva didn't get much ball, didn't get much of an opportunity at all yesterday. I think he hit the ground too often as well. He fell over a lot. There was one point which was absolutely hilarious where he went down and he sat up, looked at the lino and the referee to like ask for a judgment, didn't get it, and then threw himself back down on the ground, toddler style, which is a little bit worrying. Hopefully that's something that Philippe Clement can knock out of him. But the pitch was awful. The pitch was absolutely awful. It was a great joke this morning on Twitter or on X where they were saying that it was nice of the ground staff at La Manga to get us ready for the Dumbarton experience by screwing the pitch up a little bit, which was very, very interesting and funny, I thought. Philippe Clement obviously spoke post game. He spoke about the fact that I think the couple of things I think we sort of take out of that. We're going to talk about Ridvan obviously in a minute. He didn't mention Ridvan, but let's talk a little bit about, you know, he did say that everyone is working hard on transfer targets. There is the club are working on it. There is a whole team of people working on it. Everyone is working hard. Was his exact words. You know, he was asked about how many players. He said that sometimes you don't get as many as you want. That's just the transfer window, and it's easier in the summer. Which I think we all know that it is easier in the summer. Of course, it's easier in the summer to get players in, to get them bedded in, to get them ready to play. The summer is an easier time, an easier transfer window to move players on or to buy players, because clubs are less willing to let good players go in January, particularly if those clubs are still in contention for titles, for European places, or are needing those players to help keep them out of relegation problems. So look, it is a situation that we're in. It is easier in the summer. Encouraging though that he said that we're working hard on signings, you know, sort of allaying the fears of some that we're not trying to sign anyone.
There's still that worry that it'll just be loans and frees. We do need to start paying money for players, particularly if we're going to set up a trading model, as I mentioned the other day. But look, that's where we're at. And he talked a little bit about the fact that it was a tough game from the aspect that the players were tired. The players had an intense week training. He wanted to see how they play fatigued. I think a bigger test obviously comes Tuesday against FC Copenhagen. The FC Copenhagen are no mugs. They're in the last 16 of the Champions League. They're a good team, and I think if we see a similar level performance on Tuesday against Copenhagen, then that's when we need to worry about the second half of the season. And I know everyone's it's just a friendly, but guys, look at what happened at the start of the season. We played pretty shit in all those friendlies and then carried on into that first game against Kilmarnock, didn't it? So look, that's where we're up to, I think, with that. A couple of things that we drew out of yesterday's game as well. First of all, we concede again from a set piece. That is worrying. I know I get it's a training game, 100%, guys. Before anyone comes at me and says it's a training game, yes, I get that. But yet again, we concede from a set piece. That is worrying. Why are we constantly conceding from set pieces? This is not a now problem. This has been a problem over a period of time for Rangers. The inability to defend corners. And look, part of it to me is, why are we not putting fullbacks on? I mean, that goal yesterday from Kempf, it was a flicked on header. It went in at the near post. Why is there nobody on the post? It's easy. Put two fullbacks on the posts. When I was playing football, and I know this is not to any sort of level or standard, and when I was coaching football, again, not to any level or standard, but when you defend corners, you put fullbacks on the posts for that reason. Number one, because they're usually not tall enough to be any effectiveness in defending anybody from a set piece. And number two, because if the ball goes that near to the posts, the keeper can't cover everywhere. If you want the keeper to come out and dominate his area, therefore, you've got a fullback there to cover that. Now, we put a fullback on the post yesterday. That goal doesn't go in, simple as. And obviously, again, around set pieces, why is it that our set pieces are fucking awful? Absolutely shocking set pieces yesterday. Tav's delivery was awful. Absolutely awful again. And this is not the first time, the Celtic game, awful delivery. The set piece delivery was absolutely appalling yesterday. So, one of the things I really hope that we're working on in La Manga, and we see them work on the second half of the season, is number one, defending set pieces, and number two, using set pieces effectively to create chances to score goals, because we're not doing it at the moment. And that was a massive negative from yesterday. The other obviously thing from yesterday is, what is going on with Ridvan Yilmaz? So, look, all the reports that came out, throughout last week appeared to say that Ridvan Yilmaz was on his way out, that he was going to Verona, that it was pretty much a done deal, that it was all been done and dusted. It was just dotting the I's, crossing the T's on a move, and etc., etc., etc. So, if that's the case, why did he play yesterday? Now, surely if you're about to sell a player or allow a player to leave, you're not going to use him or play him, no matter how desperate you are, for the fact that obviously Borna Barisic was out injured yesterday, Brian Jack's still injured, Tom Lawrence is still injured, but you're not going to use him. So for me, it kind of raises a bit of a mystery as to what is going on with Ridvan. Why play him if he's going to go? Surely as well, if he's going to go and going to leave, you want to see something, try other players, in that position to see what you've got, particularly, if he is going to go. Now, is it that the Verona moves broke down and that's not going to happen? Perhaps, like I said, Romano reported that we obviously weren't interested in Josh Doig, but is there something that's happened over that? Also, the fact that maybe the rumours and the reports that Galatasaray are now interested in paying £5 million for him. Maybe there's something in that. I don't know, but it just, to me, was a big mystery as to why Ridvan played yesterday, if he's going to be moved on. I'd love to, and it didn't seem, I don't know, I haven't yet found anything on any of the interviews yet that I've read through or listened to. Anyone particularly getting at that issue, and talking around it. So I don't know what's going on with that one. Really don't. It is interesting. I will obviously have a little look into it and a little bit more development, a little bit more read up into it to try and find out a little bit more about what is going on with Ridvan Yilmaz. But obviously, this is now a week where we start to really get back to work. I mean, I think firstly, obviously, the Copenhagen game on the Tuesday it's a friendly, but it is going to be a tough game because, like I said, Copenhagen are no mugs. They're in the last 16 of the Champions League. You do not get to the last 16 of the Champions League if you are a mug. It's just the way it is. Yes, I know they beat a pretty poor Manchester United team, but that's just, that's by the by. They are in the last 16, so that's obviously deal with that. It will be a stern test. It will be a good test, and we're going to want to see, I think, the players go out there and put in a huge amount of effort. You are going to hope that we start with our strongest lineup on Tuesday, and we take it from there. Secondly, obviously, you've got the Dumbarton game on coming up on the Saturday in the Cup. So that's the first round of obviously the Scottish Cup for us. Again, I think you're going to see a lot of the younger players perhaps given an opportunity. Robbie given an opportunity. Some of the squad players given an opportunity because, look, at the end of the day, going to Dumbarton, you should be beating them easily. We are Rangers. They're Dumbarton. They're lower league. It's just how it is. Yes, you don't want a cup set, but look, that's where it is. And then we're back, obviously, working towards back into league fixtures. So it's it's a big week in terms of games getting ready. And I think 2 games that we use to prepare for the league, 2 games that we use to get ready for going back into league action. That's where we're at. Yes, yesterday was disappointing. It was disappointing. We streamed the game here live on the channel. It was very boring at times. We were even debating what was the most painful thing in the world. Was it watching this game or some other random stuff? Look, it wasn't great, but it was only a friendly game. It was only a training game, and I understand the fans. I understand the fans talking. How some of the fans talking how they are. But like I said, there were positives to drink out of yesterday. There were negatives out of yesterday, and things we've got to work on. I think that's what the game is used for. Yes, it isn't a time to get your knickers in a twist. Yes, it isn't a time to start. We'll say we're going to lose everything. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to do anything in the second half of the season. It's not a time for that. But it is a time for looking at it critically in terms of drawing out those positives and those negatives from yesterday's performance, as we've tried to do in this video. Well, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, if you can sub to the channel, that'd be fantastic. And if I've earned your like, please do that as well. 2 things I always ask of you guys on the way out. Number 1, smash the like. It helps the video to grow. And number 2, always remember, please never forget, we are the people.